hypnotized.
Okay. Casually just slam into everything here. Oh, why is this all weird? Hold on. An excellent morning. What are you talking about, dude? 4 p.m. Alright, so let me change that real quick. Oh. Why are we doing that? Oh, there we go. Cool. Of course, I have to use 2 different softwares here. Okay. It's fine. No big deal. Oh yeah, I forgot. Gotta blind myself. Bing. All right. So we're painting up this big boy here today. Now remember, he is at. I feel like this is too bright. Hold on. This is at his 100% size. So the previous 2 we printed at 150 to work on, and so these typically the standard sized miniatures we do at 150. And then this one, and then the one next week we're doing at 100% because they are larger. But yeah, we're gonna knock some paint out on this guy. Should be pretty fun. I'm thinking green robes, non-metallic metal on the sword, and like brownish orangey skin, most likely. And then next week is, I believe, the something demon, the big bird. So we'll be doing that. I'm probably, the zenithal that I'm going to do on that is going to be blue to start it off, so we're not spending forever doing like gradients on the feathers. But beyond that, oh yeah, the zenithal. Do you like my shirt? But so that's a little cheat there. The new month is out on Broken Anvil, so now I shared with them what I'm going to be painting, but let me, oh my gosh. This week has been crazy. I have been, I'm about to relaunch my web store outside of just my Patreon, and I've done like 60 hours of work trying to get it ready. For those of you that know Epic Miniatures, you know they have like literally 1,000, well, they have like 2,200 miniatures, so it's been a lot to get that uploaded. Let me show you what I'm going to be working on out of the next set, so you guys know ahead of time as well. Let's go into the secret Broken Anvil Discord. Ooh. Okay, here we go. So these, and I can't flick back and forth, right? No. So these will be the ones that we're working on out of the next release, for those interested. We're doing one cat. I kind of want to switch it to the one that has the frying pan, but I want to paint that one on my own Patreon, so we're gonna keep that one tucked. But so we're doing one of the cats. I also realized the bases have like chunks missing on them out of the renders, which is kind of funny. But so we're doing one of the dinosaurs as well. So we should have a lot of fun. I'm wanting to do the armor, like bone armor, so a little atypical from what we're used to. But yeah, so I haven't done any painting though, at all. since the last time you've seen me, other than our Patreon class over the weekend. We finished up another paint thinning exercise on this guy and had a lot of fun doing a crazy glowing eye and all that jazz. We went about doing the skin in a really weird way that did a lot of the work for you, to where you only really had to do one final layer at the end. So that was kind of cool, and that was for the Scholar Plus people. And then this month we're doing kind of a pivot. We're going to be working on some metal Reaper minis, but then we'll be back to 3D printed stuff after that, so in April. But beyond that, check out the Broken Anvil Patreon for their new release, obviously, patreon.com/brokenanvilminis. And then you can see what I've got going on over at patreon.com/JoshDavisMiniatures. So, but we can go ahead and get started. So why don't we start on this guy? Let's do his skin. So I'm going to grab this Auburn Shadow color and some black. Oh, well, let's move this. Not that it makes a huge difference right now. Okay. Let me use a crappier brush here. A crappier brush for this stage. How many times are we going to drop him today? We should do a poll. I usually drop a miniature 3 times. That's the... If they're not going to be on one of the little GW handles, it's always like 3. I'm sure today will be no exception. We'll see. Maybe he'll break, maybe he'll not. We've had good luck, knock on wood, of course, but... Okay. So I do have a Zenithal here that we're going to take advantage of slightly. Only slightly, of course. No, TGM's too expensive too. I don't really see a need for that. I mean, I ship miniatures all over the country, and Soraya does just fine without Tenacious even, so. Obviously they can still break, but for the most part my settings are decent. They don't really do anything crazy. So we're just going to throw the dark brown all over everything. We're going to work our way up into warmer tones. That's about as much as the Zenithal that I wanted to show through, so we're cool with that. Probably going to clear a little bit more of it off with the brush here. Yeah, no, it's not a big deal at all, right? Like, the wings are very basic, so, you know, they're going to be more affected by the atmosphere, and there's not going to be much detail on them. So you can see how I did the Zenithal, right? I mean, mostly paying attention to the centers of the body, and that's it. I am definitely, since I have my old commission painting past, right? So I did commission painting for like 5 years, and worked with hundreds of people, painted thousands of, I mean, I was painting at least 1,000 miniatures a year, back when I used to keep count of like every single job I got. And the one thing that's important that literally doesn't make any sense to me when I see people do it, right, is only paint things you can see. A lot of people are like concerned about doing, you know, everything modularly and like sub-assembly and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, depending on the sculpt at least, obviously, you know, no one's ever gonna know. They're not gonna notice. They're not gonna see it, and it's kind of like a big blunder people go through is like making their life too hard because they're like, oh, I'm gonna do all this detail work on the underside of this thing no one's ever gonna see once I glue it on. So Does not matter. And I only got one direct complaint about that over the years. And the person was an idiot anyway, so their opinion is worth about as much as the ruble right now. So, but they were like, so it was pretty funny. They were like, why is the underside of this shield, like, for example, right, one of the miniatures they were complaining about, which was, at the end of the day, just a complaint on how I painted them. But what was funny, right, is they're like, why is the back of the shield so dark? I should be able to see the wood in every wood grain and da-da-da. And I'm like, because it's in shadow, dum-dum, right? Like, don't you understand how lighting works when you paint things? And this was somebody that paid for, like, relatively decent like level. So I mean something close to stuff like this, right? It was for a board game. So they got something close to this for, at the time, I want to say like $15 a mini, because it was like my second year, I think, in business. So I was doing stuff way too cheap. And they were like, well, it's unfinished. This isn't finished because things shouldn't be dark if they're in shadow. And I was like, all right, dude. Well, see you later. So luckily I was smart enough to have a non-refundable policy at that point, but once I moved away from board game people, it got better, because, you know, once you move into the realm of like people knowing what painted stuff looks like and how certain things work, I guess, right? Like miniature games, RPGs, stuff like that, you stop running into people that just like literally have no expectation or standard or what to expect. But I'm gonna add a little bit more water to this than I have elsewhere, because I want a lot of those ridges. That's fine, that looks good to me. Same on the head here. Now this is the first person this month that doesn't have any kind of weird lighting effect going on. And we're gonna keep it that way. I'm not gonna implement something glowing just to have it glowing, you know what I mean? And the hand here. Boom. Alright, so now that we've got that kind of set up, I'm gonna grab a green. So let's do regular old leaf green here. Yeah, the only time, back to like assembling stuff, the only time really it matters is like if you have, so this guy, like based on the lighting, I would be able to hide a lot of that detail. So what you consider, if I can get a sentence out, is what you're losing by assembling something, and 9 times out of 10, the only thing you lose is like ambient lighting, meaning the more things that you need to hide because something is assembled, the darker it has to be. So, you know, I would need everything back there to be in shadow, back there behind the body, which would make sense anyway, right? Like his body and his wings are going to be casting a shadow on the big throne. But, you know, you just have to kind of know that going into it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have glued him to the back of the throne, but I still wouldn't have painted the back of his wings. Does that make sense? Like, just to have a little bit more control. But yeah, when I threw that print on that base, I was like, oh, you know what? I probably should have waited, but it's okay. That miniature is not for anything other than a size reference, so for my store. Okay. Regular old green. And what I want to do is we do need a black. I just did a brush full of water. I'm actually going to add a little bit more of that brown. There we go. Which, interestingly, this looks like jungle moss, which is the dark green I use anyway, so I could have just done that, but But I didn't. I don't currently have a plan for the middle cloth. Maybe we just don't, like, you know, it could be metal if you wanted it to be, but I think we're just going to tackle it as if it's a fancier piece of cloth with some of the details being metal kind of embroidered onto it. So I'm going to slap all the green on here quickly, and then down the center, to utilize that Zenithal, I'm going to throw more water on top. Just like that. Maybe not that much water, so I'm going to move some pigment back into it. And then we'll just let it do its thing. Let gravity do gravity. Right up around the neck. He does have a bunch of jewelry on. Okay. I guess that elbow is skin. But anyway, I hope you guys have had a decent week. I just feel fried. Did get Elden Ring though. That's been fun to poot around in. I guess it's a good thing that I noticed that because we didn't do his hand either back here. Alright, we got that. Okay, so let's get some white. I lied. I'm gonna use military blue, which is a nice bluish gray. It is a base tone I enjoy a lot for non-metallic metal. Silvers. A little bit of water. I'm not a person that likes Souls games, but like watching people play it and seeing how it looks and everything, like I think just visually it's really awesome, like very, very unique. And I also feel like it's not as hard. Of course I say that, right? But in general, a lot of people feel that it's not as just blatantly in-your-face difficult as previous Souls games. So, and I mean, I did try Dark Souls 3, and I already feel like this one is something I can handle a bit better, so. Because yeah, otherwise I'm not a huge fan of Souls-style games. But this one seems to be tickling the spot. Maybe we'll do a thing on his chest here. Okay. Yeah, I really couldn't. I mean, I know the older games are cool too, but I just can't bring myself to play games that are old because of the graphics. Some I can, but it depends on like the genre. I mean, I'll play Age of Empires too, right? But it's also not like a 3D game. Should we do like copper? Yeah, let's do that. So I'm gonna grab, let's do, where hiding is the Rust Brown right here. Is it a remake or just like a remaster? Because I know like Dark Souls, right, got redone with HD textures and stuff. All right, so I'm not too concerned if this stuff sort of washes out. Why don't we do this too? We'll do that threading there. Okay. Now for everyone's favorite part, we can wash it all down. We're gonna wait a second though. Everything's almost dry. But I can tell, if we retain the same lighting, this is gonna look really cool. I really hate it when I have to, or not I have to, but like when you buy one thing from a store and then randomly you get a text from them. Like, hey, remember us? So I'm gonna do purple, mostly because purple's gonna work well. I mean, we could do blue too, but I'd rather do purple because it'll contrast with the green more. We could get away with a dark red as well for the wash, but since the skin is going to be kind of orangey red in its brightest areas, I mean, you know, you never want to do same, that doesn't make sense. It's kind of like when I was in college, right? You don't paint a white wall white. It's a billion other colors, not just white. Okay. So where can we start? We can start on wings and such.
All right, let's bring that beat back.
Now in these darker areas, this is more of a glaze than a wash, but that's just our little secret, right? Not super crucial. So that's still a little bit wet over there. Okay. So we'll tackle front of the wing, inside. Okay. Go ahead and do the blade arena here. Still waiting on a bit to dry on this guy. It's in the larger areas. But I can tell the clothes are gonna look really nice based on the top two parts there. Alright, so let's do face and hair. I have no idea what we're gonna do with the hair, so I'm just gonna throw this on there for now. Funny is we neglected that tail quite a bit, but it's okay. Now, I do have some pooling happening on the bottom of the wings here, but because I know that's not really paint and it's just water, it should evaporate just fine, not give us any weird like tea stain. You would hope, of course. Okay, so that was pretty effective. Let this dry and we can get to work. Pulling it out on the sides there, putting it down here on the bottom. Okay. Base coat's complete, whoop-de-woo. Got a good basis to start from. What should we do first? Should we do the skin or the sword? Both will probably take us the longest. His robe won't take us too long. So really it's just going to be spending time on the blade, and that's it, if I had to guess. If I had to guess. But I think the blade's going to be dry before the skin, so we could mess with that. Let's see, I need some white. We already have some green. But what I don't want is to touch... What can I hold back here? Top of the wing? Okay. You're applying too much water at once. Like you're putting too much paint on. So one part of it is surface tension, allowing it to dry. And it being a cold environment or a hot environment has nothing to do with it. It's the humidity. So if you are noticing your paints in general, not just like a wash takes forever to dry, it's very humid. And if it dries really fast, it's really dry. So it could be really cold, but your heater is making the entire house really dry, right? Low humidity, like 20 to 30%, which happens in the winter. Your stuff will dry really quickly. Or in the summer, it can also be really dry. Now, where I live, it's usually pretty humid in the summer. We'll have like 60 to 70% humidity. But yeah, you're just applying too much at once. Because yeah, typically, well, yeah. But if I had to guess, right, you're applying too much at once. Like, that's why when you see me apply, because I'll do section by section of an object. So like when I did the sword, I put it on the sword, but I did one application and moved it over the entire thing, right? A lot of people make the mistake of like putting it on top, putting some in the middle, the bottom, top of the wing, bottom of the wing, right? Instead, what you should be doing is making sure an entire portion of whatever you're doing, work on gets wet and has the same surface tension, and in that way, all of the water and pigment moves together. So, but yeah, on the Patreon, there's a wash class. I'm pretty sure that you can see on the vault, so that may be worth looking at for you. Okay, let's back it up. So I'm going to take the initial military blue here. Oh, wrong brush. This is my Bader brush. Let's do a little bit more. Okay. Use the nicer brush here. I may still have problems with this one because it's brand new, but we'll see. Maybe not. Okay. Have water on the ferrule that's trying to ruin my day. Okay. So I'm going to do the reflection top right hand side. So that's where we're going to be paying the most attention to start. Now then, since we use this color, right, as our base coat, we're not going to see anything amazing here to begin with, but I just want to make sure I'm getting the foundations down for the rest of the paint. I'm not worried about edges or anything currently at this stage. Now you may see me hit something that seems like I'm doing an edge, but it's more so getting the paint in the right spot. In the center. What else do we have? Okay, so we have the top and then the badge. The badge is still very wet, so it's also smaller, so I'm not too concerned about having to remix anything for that. Okay, then the bottom interior portion of the horn there is where you're going to see reflection. Or I'm saying it's horns because it looks just like his head, so it makes sense for me. And then this top part. Smaller objects, you're not worried as much about the detail reflections currently. Flip to the back. Okay. Wait on that badge. There's too much wash in there. What I can do is take a brush that's wet, not saturated, but just wet, and I can pull it out like this. Just like that. Now it should dry very quickly. Alright, so I'm going to take some white, mix it in. I'm going to take a little bit of the rust brown, and that's going to shift this into a brown gray, gray brown, reddish brown gray. Water. Let's see how terrifying this is. I think I undermixed it, so there's too much pigment, and this is like going to be like using a Sharpie. Oh, I lied, it's perfect. C'est parfait. Okay, we're gonna go down. And currently this color is kind of gonna be both an edge color and a base color. So I am gonna outline a lot of the objects here, just to get that process started. We're gonna have to go back, obviously, with a much sharper version here, but to begin with, this won't really be too insane. Taper it right about there. Okay. Now, if you were really brave, you could airbrush a little spritz in there. If I was wanting this to be very, very nice, like box art or something, I'd probably do that. But I always go back with a brush on top. You always, well, I mean, depending on your style, of course. My sort of commercial work is always still brush focused, but turn it this way, hit that side. I feel like this actually is curved a bit more. There we go. Now it's still wet down there at the very bottom, so I have to be careful, but I want to hit this edge. Actually, I should wait, but because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do this multiple times. Which, yeah, I'm going to have to. Alright, so what I'm going to do instead, with a lighter color is what I'm saying to myself here. So I'm going to take this color here in the center. There's a little paint-like speck. Come off the palette. I don't like that. Like a little ball of paint. Get thinner. Glaze up from the center here. Pulling my brush in the direction I want the gradient to dry, of course. Cool. Alright. So that's probably cool for that much. Maybe a little bit more of a glaze here from this direction on the edge. Let's do that. Taper it. There we go. Okay. Not worried about edges yet with this color, since we are working on a very small detail here. And I know we're gonna have to go back brighter.
That's kind of crap. I want to do that again.
Boom, boom. Okay. Alright, so I like that. Looking good so far. I kind of wish it was a little bit pinker, but... Or rather, like, more yellow. Which is not at all pink. That's so funny I said that, but... In my head, that's the direction I wanted the color to go. I wish it was pinker, you know, more yellow. That's color theory for you. Okay. Just for good measure here, we'll do a little reflection. We'll do one here at the base. I'm just getting the idea here, then we're gonna glaze it to smooth it out. Why? Oh, okay, that's not bad. I was like, the brush just went crazy on me. Alright, so very thin. Tapering glaze here. Boom. Okay, so now this badge, okay, so the badge itself should be brighter towards the top left. So we'll do that real quick. I'm still undecided as to if we do the symbol in silver or if we approach the symbol in whatever kind of coppery gold we do for our accent. So we gotta figure that out, but maybe we just leave it how it is for now until we start the other accent color, and then afterwards, if we feel like it should be something else, we can do it something else. So we still don't know if we're going to do the trim on the robe, a similar color. We need to make that darker here. Okay. All right, so now jumping to a separate temperature, we're just going to do the military blue plus white. So that middle tone color, we went warm by adding the rust brown. Now we're going back to a cool tone. And I'm actually going to add a tiny little whisper of a fart of blue. Even though the military blue obviously has blue in the name, duh, but I want this to be quite more saturated with blue. Okay. I think this should be brighter, so we'll see. If it's not, we will go more white. Alright. As they said in Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. Okay, it is brighter. But not by much. So I think we need to go brighter. Yeah, as that dries, it's almost exactly the same tone as what we had before. Alright, so that's fine. We'll take it up a step. Need a little bit more water in there because we added white, and white is very strong when you add it to any thin mix. So, got that. Let's try it again. Yeah. There it is. Now, my brush is really wet, so this color looks super strong, but it's gonna mellow as it dries. Using my brush like a pencil here. Hit an edge that I can't see at all. So let's do this interior edge actually. Let's do the easy part first. I'd rather do that. Okay, so figuring out where, I mean, we may as well just do this whole thing. And then taper it down here, like so. do the real thin center here. Tapering it further. Just water. Okay. And then this edge of the blade here does need to be brighter at the top as we move our way down. Do this edge like a madman. Pencil brush. This isn't going to be perfect, but good enough. Good enough for me, okay? Maybe some cuts. Some little dings. I mean, not that that's even visible. Who cares? Flip it this way. Okay, I'm going to taper our bright tone here at the top. I'm going to do a couple passes to get it bright. That's already dry, I think, yeah. Cool. Good enough for me. Didn't mean to do that. That's fine. We can go back with a darker color, it's okay. No biggie. We did neglect down there. That's okay. All right, let me back this out. So we're gonna go super close. Seasick warning. Boom. Okay. So now that I have that color in there, I know that it needed to be brighter in general moving our way up, so I'm gonna do that now. Just did a super quick taper of that middle tone. Look at that. So I added like another 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to taper it down here towards the bottom side of the blade. Let me grab it. Just have to remix it there on the palette. I wanted to cheat and not do the inverse reflection, but we should. Can't always get away with the easy way out. I mean, we are only painting 1/2 of the sword, so I mean, we may as well cross our I's and dot our T's, you know what I mean? You know? Well, that was brutally way too thick, so we're going to go back and adjust that, not like a ham-fisted moron. Let me mix up the dark tone. Oh my god, it's literally so dark down there. Okay, there we go. You saw nothing happen down here. Nothing but perfection. So I mixed a dark blue-gray, like the base tone was. Now I'm shaving away that way too thick white line. Just like that. Look at that. Now it's like we did it right the first time. And if you tell anyone, you're just lying. It's not true. I will deny it all day long. A personal shop? What do you mean? Where I sell painted miniatures? So right now I'm updating my 3D print store, but I also, like, anything you want to buy on there, you can. But so all the Broken Anvil stuff will be on there probably Monday. And then right now I'm almost done uploading Epic Miniatures, a lot of their catalog. So, but yeah, it's my website, Josh Davis Miniatures .art. And then there is also the ultra secret Patreon store on there as well. Ooh woo. Ooh woo. But that's mostly like one-on-one lessons, bundles, things like that. So, all right. So we're still gonna go pretty bright here. Finish up our edges, and then we'll call the blade pretty much done. So I gotta go real close here, and again, paintbrush is a pencil. Shout out to sculptors that give you literally the tiniest edge that isn't discernible from the, oh my god, from the flat edge of a brush. So you pretty much have to cry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, people are asking in your chat, right, where can I get it printed? Now, I don't do international shipping, so if it's someone that's overseas, you'll just have to throw them to Etsy, but mostly because I mean, I've done international before, but mostly directly to, like, patrons, and I have one in Australia, but, like, literally we can't send mail to Australia right now, right? So it's like, but yeah, and I haven't had too many issues shipping stuff or like 3D printed minis overseas, but for general sales, I just don't like, unless it's somebody that's a patron, I don't want to be like, oh, your stuff broke, let me spend another 40, 50 of my own money shipping a giant box, you know what I mean? Alright, little baby highlight down there. Ooh, did we do a blade, you guys? Look at that. Look at that blade. And we will do a little bit of a green reflection on the interior portion to match the green that he is wearing, and then we'll do a little bit, I already did right here, a little bit of brown, because it'll match the brown in his skin. But so we will do some reflection. Right now, this is just like a bing, bright, shiny boy, but it doesn't have any other color, right? So it needs a little bit of love. We did switch the temperature as we were working on the highlight, but let's do a little badge real quick. Easy peas. Remember, if you don't switch temperatures while you're painting stuff, you get no maidens, and you don't want that. Alright, so I'm thinking how bright. I need to take the actual body of the little badge, but the problem is this is pretty flat, right? So it's not giving me much of a volume to work with in terms of the surface. So when it comes to non-metallic metal, we're just literally going to have to like fudge it in terms of where the reflection would be, which is fine. I don't mind fudging. We can fudge. Doesn't have to be perfecto. So maybe a rounded highlight here. Towards the top. And highlighting around the emblem. Cool. Yeesh. Yeesh. Classically phoning it in here on this part, but it's okay. Only because I know if we're going to, oh, then the bottom right-hand corner should be highlighted. Duh. Duh. Really, really following my basics here. If we're going to do the emblem a separate color, then we've got to follow through with that, so I wasn't too awfully concerned. Alright, so we will let that do its own thing for now. Alright, so why don't we break on that. Let me see what time it is. We're about an hour in. Of course we are. My internal clock is perfect. Alright, let's take a little drinky. Again, if you ever have any questions, anything like that, feel free to ask. skin or shirt? What do we... Oh, you know what? I bet this is all metal. This girdle. I bet the girdle's metal and that's metal. We have decisions to make here. All right, let's just start on the clothing. So I need to go. We can use that. So then I need a bright yellow. So let's grab a marigold yellow, like a sunflowery color. And then I need to throw more white on the palette just to be prepared. I feel like the blade needs to be brighter too on edges and stuff, but we will worry about that whenever we adjust the gold we inevitably need to do. Oh, we didn't do the rings. Shame. Can't forget the rings, man.
I'm hypnotized.
We'll do a final edge on those when we get to that tone. Alright, so Greenerino. So I'm taking the darker green and that base color we used, which was just a regular old surprising leaf green. Getting that to a nice workable consistency, pretty much 1-to-1 with water. Can we even see it in palette land? There we go. Okay. Following the zenithal first, then edges. Again, we don't know what color we're going to do for the trim. Maybe the trim isn't metal and it's like a cream color. That could be cool. Actually, that'd probably work. I'm doing everything that's going to be hit with pretty much a solid color right now. So I'm doing our like main shapes and then we'll taper into them. Okay. The only reason I did more on the smaller little section there was just because it's small. Shocker. Alright, that level looks pretty good. Alright, up here. Still haven't decided if we're going for a metal on that or not, so that choice is going to happen here shortly if we are on the girdle. But with the amount of time that we have left, I think it'll just have to be a trim, so that's what we'll do. But the interior portion will be, so we'll repaint the trim. Okay, so we're just going to ignore the trim that we have there for the sake of getting our highlight in. Okay, so that's pretty good. Flip them around. Looking for our big blocky highlights. Easy enough. Okay, now then, much thinner for our glaze. Pulling the brush into that edge wherever we want our taper. Just like that. Nice little gradients. People always freak out, right, whenever they're new to painting about learning how to blend and do things like that with a bunch of extra colors that they don't really need to worry about. When really, figuring out glazing and tapering with a single color is going to make you faster. But what I'm doing is I'm feathering every edge. And then when it dries, you can see I still have a bit of separation there. Let me bounce this up. Right here. You can see I still have a little bit of an edge visible on some of these. So I'm going to go back. Once again. Taper it on. And there you go, you get a really nice gradient. All right, so now we're ready to go brighter. So I'm going to add some of that yellow and a little bit of white. Back to that 1-to-1 ratio. I'm right down here. There we go. Start up here since we know it's going to be bright. interior portion on there. I guess right here. Since the claw arm is in the way, right, it's going to be blocking some of that torso. Okay. Let's do some up here in the center. And then a lot of this, a lot of the rest of this, I should say, it's going to be tapered in. So I'm going to be using thinner paint. Do that now. A little too gung-ho on the bottom there, sorry. Need to clean that section up some. For sure. Okay. Very thin on the back here. I'm going back in just to taper with water. And you just manipulate the edge with your brush and water. If it dries, it's okay. You just go back with more. Okay, and then the top edges, or whatever here, the shoulder. I have a little bit too much glue where the wings are attached, so my slightly overexposed print meant I had to jam it on in there, so I mean, I could have sanded it, I just didn't. I said, who has time to sand something? Even though it's not true, I did sand a little bit of, of this guy. Alright, fine with that. Now then, we do have our green, so I'm going to grab a very thin glaze and hit this edge here. Some of the green. Let it dry, I'm going to do it again. And that's just to get some of the green from the clothing on there. Okay, maybe not that much. Let me grab our emergency brush wizard. There you go. Erase that right off the board. Okay. Alright, skin time. So, Auburn Shadow into Rust Brown. So we're just going to start back with Auburn Shadow since we're going to go directly on top of the darker brown. Start on the face, shall we? Whoop. Whoop, where am I? Blocking in our main details, including a little support mark that's left in there. Always gotta leave a support mark, right? That's how you know. Good old slight imperfection. Now then, getting a little bit more water involved here to make our tapering on the wings easier. Seasick warning, seasick warning. Going in real close here. There we go. Wet tapering most of this in. Did that way too thin, way too fast. So it dried almost instantly. Only a little oopsie. We can fix it, as we are right there. Now then, this is about as bright as the wing webbing, the winging is gonna be, and then the fingers, or the wing fingers, the wingers, those are gonna be brighter, so we can continue up on the skin. But not too concerned with that currently. All right. Should have sanded that down a little better there, but it's alright.
Alright, let's bring that beat back.
I will do the inside edge here of the blade, also in the skin tone. Alright, so let's continue on to our secondary color. So I'm going to use this rust brown. Water. And then I'm going for the major facial details. Way too pretty. There we go. I actually don't know if this is bright enough, so I'm going to grab a bit of a skin tone and a little bit of white. There we go. Now we've got a winning highlight. It's kind of like a peach. Go for the tear duct. Other corner of the eye. Down the nose. Corner of the mouth. Now his facial features are a little exaggerated, so I can't really do like my typical humanoid face method, but still pretty standard. His jaw makes things a little bit different. Okay. Alright, top of the arm here. Top of the arm to you. Fingers, and then we're gonna go like a peach. Orange. Sorry, salmon? Coral? Something like that for the final highlight. It'll be a lot brighter.
Remember all the happy times we had.
Very much alike. All right. I'll tell you the truth.
Alright, then some on the wings here. I really want the skin to be very, like, oily, shiny when it comes to the wings, so that allows us to do less highlighting and more thin volume work like this, where you just do small dots, edges. Really helps shape the wing. Alright, so let's do a little magenta on here, just so I have it. I'm gonna do a brush tip of the yellow, magenta and white. There we go. Maybe a little bit more magenta, a little bit more yellow, a little bit more white. Cool. Doing our sort of final highlights here with our brighter color, which is like a salmony pink now. Texturing here on the, let me redo this. There we go, texturing the big horn here. All the maidens love a textured horn. Doing the fingers here. Let's do the ear.
That's kind of crap. I want to do that again.
All right. So I'm gonna take black. Oh, that's clear purple. I can't see anything. So I'm gonna do. I already have blue, so I'm just gonna do a really deep black color on the hair. It's also gonna help all the other stuff pop next to it. Grab a little bit of water. Wipe off. Front here. That dry. Okay, so we have trim and our gold. We can do the gold pretty quickly here. So I'm just going to use pretty much the same color we just did on the skin. Do edges. Even though it is super watery. But we're gonna go back brighter anyways, it's alright. Then the arm. Highlight across the top, that then bridges down. A little bit hard to do because the sword's there. And then kind of across the middle. But again, I'm gonna go back to the brighter tones, it's okay. This one, same idea, across the top. Side, 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 down the middle. across the bottom for good measure. Okay. We do have the slats right here. You know, we're just gonna do these bright, and we're gonna wash it down like it's cloth or something. That'll just be our easy way out. So I'm just gonna texture it weird, and then we'll wash. Alright, so what else can we quickly kind of glean? Alright, so that's going to be cloth. So then, I guess I can quickly do metal trim, so... Can't really see it on the back. Alright, so way more white. I'm actually going to make like a new pile right here. Because I need that to be pretty much as bright so I can get it for edges before we glaze everything. Okay. I don't even think that's bright enough, but it's alright. We'll get it there. May as well just use white, right? Because we're going to glaze it down to a yellowy gold. Okay. So now down here in the messiest metal of all time land. Hitting the bottom edge, the center edge. Okay. Sounds like somebody's trying to break through my wall, but it's my dog. He has like a rawhide bone, and it's hitting the wall where he's chewing it. Alright, well that wasn't too bad for the world's fastest, sloppiest metal trim. Sorry if it's not in focus, but I'm having to go under the wing, so it's like really hard for me to get it. So in hindsight, that's the only part that is kind of annoying, because it is visible, but it's just hard to reach. But I mean, it's not impossible though. Okay, got that. So, I'm gonna make a lighter kind of brownish tan for the trim here. Oh, there are non-embroidered symbols here. It's okay. We'll make it work. Added some white to it. And then just hitting some edges and texture. Further down I go. From the sound of it, something burned in the house. And there's a frantic fan operation going on. I'm usually the dinner operator in these parts. Hey, Voxel. Okay, I'm gonna go brighter. I am in Oklahoma. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit brighter in the direct center of this cloth. Nope, even brighter. Yeah, sorry, I have no help in that direct answer. I don't know if they're in Seattle. They're in Washington. I didn't think it was Seattle. Maybe? I know it's the area, but maybe though. I could be wrong. I know they just got a new office. They signed a lease on a new place. Okay. So, let's glaze our gold here. I'm going to use the same marigold yellow. I love using this color to goldify stuff. Alright, and then we're just going to be doing pure white on some edges, and that's it. I'm literally out of room on the palette. Love that. No, I am finishing up very rapidly here. Very rapidly, within minutes. But I hope you have a good weekend, Steve. Hope you get to touch some grace, man. And then I need to super wash down this whole situation. And then a very brief but fleeting highlight on the hair. And that's it. We're out, man. So I hope you guys had a good time. I like the way he turned out today. Very grand, very demony. I like the blade. Everything we got going on. Skin tone's cool. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Remember to check out the new release. Go to patreon.com/brokenanvilminis. Lots of awesome stuff coming up out of that release for this month. If you would like as well for a boatload of tutorials and monthly classes starting at $5 a month, going all the way up to $18 million a month. No, I'm just kidding. But a level for every skill level and everything you could desire. Check out my Patreon, because that's what I do to pay my bills. Patreon.com/JoshDavisMiniatures. And I appreciate you. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Find $20 in your pocket. None of your 3D prints fail. All that jazz. And we will catch you next week for the big, gigantic bird demon. And we should have a really fun time. So, thanks so much, everybody. Adios. And I will see ya later. And then run into a chair, of course.